Hello everyone and welcome to Stan the Wine Man TV. I'm your host, Stan Rattan, and this is the Blue Collar Wine Show where I try to help you spend your wine dollars wisely. How do I do that? I review the wines, I grade them, and then it's up to you. I review, it's up to you. It's your palate, but anyway. I mean, that's what counts, is what you like. Hopefully, you're learning what I like. And you know I'm on a campaign about Australian wines. I won't get into big detail on this. I won't get on my soapbox. But Australian wines have tanked over the past few years, mostly because of Yellowtail, Lindemans, Jacob's Creek, all very inexpensive wines, and people just got so used to it and got tired of them, and now nobody wants to pay more than $10, $12 for an Australian wine. And if you've seen in past episodes, really these Australian wines that I've been trying have been showing really well. They've really been stellar. In fact, in my blind lineup, when I was doing a Portuguese, an Australian, and a Washington wine, I was very impressed with the Penfolds Canoga Hills Shiraz Cab. I thought it was drinking really nice, very balanced, not highly alcoholic. So really, going through these wines, I'm starting to wonder, why do people avoid Australian wines up in the $15, $16, $17 range when they're more than willing to spend that much on a Cab, a Merlot, a blend, a Pinot Noir, all of those things, they're willing to spend that. But when it comes to Australian wines, people just are shut down when it comes to that price range. Well, I'm hoping by the end of 2015, I'm not going to beat you up with this stuff. I think this is the first major one I've done this week. In fact, I'm kind of on a roll. I've done 5 episodes straight. That's going to change next week. My schedule won't allow me to do that. But thanks for those who keep it on. First of all, I want to shout out to Mike Burns for making a comment about the football game. It means he was listening to me. We don't agree on what happened with the Seahawks, but that's okay. I appreciate the fact that he made the comment. That means he's watching my video. And for those of you lurkers out there, you friends of mine that are watching these, please subscribe. Subscribe. And the reason I ask you to do that is very simple. It really helps my YouTube channel when I have more subscribers. That's it. It's not that hard to do. You're helping me out. It makes me feel good, but it also helps my channel. And that's really, I want this channel to succeed. I want to keep doing this. I really enjoy it. I don't need to have 1 million followers, 1 million subscribers to feel successful, but I'd like to have a few hundred anyway. So if you're watching these, a good buddy of mine subscribed. He hates subscribing, but he did it anyway. I really appreciate that. Shout out to him. I won't say his name. He likes his privacy. So let's get started right away. We're going to start off with the Molly Dooker, the violinist, Verdelho, 2011, Sarah and Sparky Marquise. I did an interview with Sarah Marquise. Oh, got my Seahawks spit bucket. Thought I'd throw that in there. Really proud of the Seahawks for a great season, even though they didn't beat the Patriots. The hated Patriots. I hate the Patriots. I really do. Sorry if you're a Patriots fan. You know how it is. You might hate the Seahawks, but we still like each other, right? Has nothing to do with our team. Verdelho is not to be confused with Verdejo. They're a different grape. I learned that recently when I was in Portugal. So very different grape, and they're very stylistically different also. This rolls in at $25, so it's not small potatoes for a white. But again, once again, I have to say it, Camus Conundrum goes for around the same price. People buy it all the time. And they'll spend $30, $40 on a Rombauer Chardonnay. So don't let the fact that these cheaper wines have devaluated, hope that's a word, devaluated Australian wines. We need to get it back to where it needs to be. So let's see what we get on the nose with this one. Get a nice fig component coming through. A little bit of petrol, a little bit of rubber boot. Notice I got my Green Kings Market shirt on. I'm doing this on my lunch break. No rest for the wicked. They don't get any more wicked than me. A little bit of like a melon rind sort of banana thing going on. I'm getting a really interesting like bread dough component. Let's see what we get on the palate. I like my new bucket. It's going to make a little bit more noise. Sorry about that. Very, very rich on the palate, but at the same time, there's a little bit of tangerine element in this wine. A little bit of white licorice. I always want to look that up. I just get that licorice component coming through. That fig and almost like a banana bread component coming through also, which is very interesting. A little spicy on the palate, which I like. There's a little honey coming through. Excuse me. See, when I said rich, I mean, it caught me in the back of the throat. Very balanced, very nice, very seamless, very delicious. A lot of stuff going on. I wouldn't call it a sweet wine by any stretch. It's on the off-dry white. A lot of fig, a lot of banana bread, a lot of all that good things coming through with a little hint of tangerine, a little bit of licorice coming through. I love this wine. I love this wine. For 25 bucks is very interesting. It would go with a lot of different things. It would go with roasted chicken. It would go with pork chops. It would go with seafood. It would go with a cod. Go with a lot of things. Very diverse, very good. If you're doing you want a little special white, look for Molly Dooker. It's easier to get than it used to be. We're talking in the heydays of Australian wine. You could not get Molly Dooker, or you had to pre-order it, and I ordered a lot of it and sold a lot of it. Now I don't order it at all. You know, I will, I promise. See, I'm contributing to this lack of Australian interest because I am just reacting instead of being proactive. And now I'm going to be proactive on this. I'm really going to boost up the Australian wine section. I'm really going to hand sell it. Things like this, people can't miss out on these wines. They're really special. They're very nice. I'm going to go A on this wine. It is an excellent Verdelho. All right, now we're going to move on to a D'Arenberg, the Footbolt Shiraz McLaren Vale 2011. We've already talked about McLaren Vale being in the southern part of... did I? I did, didn't I? I don't think I did. I want to show you the Molly Dooker label. There you go. By the way, Molly Dooker means left-hander in Australia. And both Sarah and Sparky are left-handed. Kind of cool. Nice little story there. Now we'll go to the D'Arenberg, the Footbolt Shiraz. There you go. D'Arenberg's been around a long time. These guys, you know, again, when the Australian wines were doing really well, these guys did pretty good. Back before everybody decided at some point in their life that no wine is worth more than $10 from Australia. Thank you very much, Yellowtail. D'Arenberg did really well. So this runs in, I think we were looking at the alcohol earlier today, I think it's it's about 14.5, I believe. Found it, yeah, okay, there we go. 14.2. We talked about this. A lot of people accuse Australian wines of being high in alcohol, over the top. Let me tell you, you can go into Napa and find 14.2 cabs all day. I mean, really. And for those of you who drink Zinfandel like myself, 14.2, that's nothing. So, yes, there are some that are big, fruity wines. Just there's some of those in the red blend section from domestically, from California, from Washington. They're there. We know they're there. And if you don't like them, don't drink them. But a lot of the Australian wines are not over-the-top big fruit bombs. Let's see what we get on the nose. So, after saying that, I get just a little bit of a burn, not a huge amount. It's not off-putting by any stretch. Black licorice all day, a lot of currants coming through on this one. I'm getting a little bit of rose petal action. This is one of like a very, I call it a sultry nose. I mean, there's a lot of depth in this nose. It's like brooding sort of dark fruits coming through. A little bit of a wood. I smell wood on this one, but more like old wood, like, you know, like an old board. A little bit of cola, a little bit of Coca-Cola action. A little wine on my glasses. Got to be careful there. Yeah, definitely Coca-Cola. A little bit of vanilla coming through, So let's see what we get on the palate. Nice balance on this wine. I get the currants, I get dark cherries all day. There's a little bit of a grip action on the backside of this wine. I get a little bit of oak coming through. Maybe a little bit more than I like, actually, to tell you the truth. Some interesting bark notes coming through. This is almost like a meaty Shiraz. I mean, like, there's a little, like a meat element coming through with the cherries and the currants. Just a barely a little bit of mint on the back end coming through. The wood, I think yeah, it seemed like there's oak on this. I mean, I could be wrong, but I'm assuming there's oak on this wine. And it's closing up the fruit just a little bit. I think it's hindering the fruit expression a little bit, but it's still very structured, still very nice. There's nothing wrong with that Shiraz. I would not call that a fruit bomb by any stretch of the imagination. In fact, for a lot of cab drinkers or those who like a little bit more structure, maybe you like the oak, you'll like this wine. I'm going to go B on it. I think it's good. It's above average by far. I just think it has a little bit too much of that restraint. It doesn't get, but it could age. I mean, this is a 2011, so, you know, maybe give it another year or two and it might open up, but for now I'm going to go with a B. I'm going to stick with that grade. Now, let's move on. Don't want to take too much time here. D'Arenberg, 2010, the High Trellis Cabernet Sauvignon. And these, oh, by the way, that both of these roll in at about $15 to $17. I believe this is about $14 for the Shiraz, and this is anywhere between $15 and $17 for the High Trellis Shiraz. A little bit out of my, a little bit disjointed. I didn't have the prices written on the back. So there's that D'Arenberg label, very, very recognizable. So we're going to a Cabernet Sauvignon from Australia. Let's see what we get on the nose. I get eucalyptus right off the bat, green bell pepper, asparagus, definitely currants, a little bit of bark action just like the Shiraz. Yeah, eucalyptus definitely coming through on this one. A little bit of black licorice, maybe a touch of tobacco. Let's see what we get on the palate. This is a very good cab. I mean, it's got a nice roundness, a nice plushness on the palate, but it never goes, I wouldn't call this a fruit bomb by any stretch. Once again, hate to be redundant here, but a lot of tar, tobacco, earth notes coming through, currants all day. The eucalyptus does not come through on the palate, maybe just barely on the back end. But you know, basically this is a very good cab, perhaps a little bit more ramped up alcohol-wise than normal, but not terrible. I would say it's fairly in balance. Solid effort. Yes, the eucalyptus definitely comes through as more oxygen. I got through it. There's a little bit of oak on this one also, but it's not, it's in balance. It's not restricting the wine. It's adding those elements of toastiness, earth, a little bit of tar. A lot of good things in this wine. A lot of good things in this cab, and there's good acidity also. It has a nice balance there. I would easily age this wine 5 to 8 years and feel comfortable about that. Again, we're talking a $16 to $17 cab that will age another 5 to 8 years, and it's gorgeous right now. It's drinking really good, and I really have a hard time understanding why people are not looking to Australia for really quality wines. They're there. They're for our taking. All we have to do is release our mind from the whole Yellowtail, Lindemans, Jacobs Creek thing and start searching for those good quality wines in the, you know, $15 to $25 range. They've got a bunch of them. They're really good. Of course, you can go higher than that, but I'm just saying, in that range, it's really good. A lot of us spend money in that price range on wine all the time. So, I'd like to ask you a question. Maybe you could make a comment. Are you nervous about buying Australian wines? Have you been affected by the attitude that people have towards these wines? Why have you, this is sort of 3 questions, but all the same idea, right? Why have you, if you have, have you turned away from Australian wines? Make a comment. I'd like to get some action in the comment section. I really appreciated Mike's comment. Even though it wasn't wine related, I still appreciate it very much. Make a comment about your feelings on Australian wine. I'd really appreciate it. Thanks for watching. And remember, wine is not a mystery. It is just fermented grape juice. Trust your palate. Don't let anybody tell you what you should or shouldn't like. And if you do that, together we can take the snob out of wine.